more proper rabbit care. Section 1, housing. Cage size. Rabbits and cavies need to be provided a cage of adequate size to accommodate species and breed-specific behavior. Table 1-A provides minimum requirements for one rabbit based on weight of the animal. Available cage space is calculated by multiplying the cage width by length and subtracting the space occupied by feed and water dishes located on the floor. Feeders and waterers fixed to the side of the cage, not coming in contact with the floor, need not be subtracted from available cage space, which is why I do a gravity-based nipple water system and we have hanging feeders, so they have more room to play in. Individual rabbits. Mine are the 8 to 11.9 pound range because they're New Zealand. Minimum floor space is 4 foot square. And minimum height interior is 14 inches. All of my cages are bigger than that. 1B is for minimum cage size according to the Animal Welfare Act by breeds based upon breed's maximum senior weight. And then there's the cage that explains, which is which. Again, I'm in the 8 to 9, and I have mostly New Zealand's. Required cage space is 4 foot square. All the cages are bigger than that. For female rabbits with litters, again, the required cage space, minimum floor space is 6 foot. They all have at least 6 feet, and actually a bit more because all my minimum heights, none of my cages are shorter than 18 inches. Everything is at least 18 inches tall, so they have more than enough room to actually not only get off the wire, but they like to sit on top of their 5-gallon buckets on occasion to get away from their babies. So that gives mom a place to get away and rest, so she's not getting driven crazy by 2+ week-old litters. Let's see. Cavies at our house. We're not going to do too much on cavies because I don't keep cavies. I really don't care. Let's see. Cage construction. Cages are to be constructed in a manner which takes into account species and breed-specific behaviors and needs. Protect the animal from harm by predators, and protect the animal from injury. Any sharp edges are either to be dulled or covered with materials such as plastic guard to prevent injury to the animal and owner. Cage components need to be replaced as they wear out to prevent safety hazards to the animal and its owner. Cages with either solid floors or a resting board for those enclosures with wired bottoms may need to be provided to animals that are prone to sore hocks, particularly Belgian hares, Flemish giants, and Rex, based on the condition of the animal's foot pads. Again, these are all genetic conditions. Some breeds are prone to it, some aren't. My New Zealands and Harlequins are not prone to it, and we breed away from it. Wire bottom cages are not recommended for cavies unless the floor is constructed in a manner that prevents their legs from becoming stuck. Now remember, cavies, unlike rabbits, have skin and basically hands. They have paws on their bottoms. They're not the same as a rabbit. A rabbit has a giant floofy feet and lots of thick fur, which is why wire is not a big deal for properly bred rabbits. It is strongly recommended that those breeds marked with an asterisk in Table 1 be housed in cages with extra floor space and height due to breed-specific behaviors. None of those on the list are ones that I raise and breed. Okay? If larger cages are unavailable to accommodate those breeds for whatever reason, it's recommended an exercise program be incorporated into weekly cage regimen for these particular animals. Most of the ones that they list are running breeds, English spots, things like that. So tans, basically any of the hare-like rabbits, because those are your agility rabbits. They're not meat rabbits. They're running rabbits. Animals who demonstrate stereotypic behavior such as pacing back and forth, moving of feed and water dishes for no apparent reason, constant chewing at water bottles, pulling at wire, or any other repetitive behavior performed out of habit are recommended to be given environment enrichment toys such as golf balls or metal bells hanging in the cage to encourage activity for those animals that require extra stimulation. Everyone has cage toys. We either have shaker bottles with rocks in them for them to play with. Right now, I have insulators in there. They occasionally get straw and hay to play with if they feel like it. A bunch of them actually have hay balls. A bunch of them also have large PVC pipes that they can tunnel in the grow-out cages. So, yeah, they do get stimulation. They're not just in there by themselves. They have things to play with. Cage bedding. Typically, bedding is not used in wire bottom cages, but on some occasions, particularly on occasions of sudden extreme cold, either straw or hay may be used, which we do when it's cold out or the weather is shit. All right? And then they will get a flake or two in there, or they'll get deep bedding. When it gets very cold over the winter, we stuff everything full of deep bedding, and they can play and burrow and do what they need to. And as I've stated in multiple videos prior, does that are ready to kindle and does that need to build nests are obviously going to get cage straw in their cages to build their nests. And I will place it in there, and I will give them stuff that they can work with. So I'm not saying never. I'm just saying there's times when it's appropriate and times when it's not appropriate. And it's not necessary if you're feeding a proper complete pellet. It's an additive, it's a snack, it is a treat, but it's not something that they absolutely must have and will die if they don't get it. Cages need to be washed and sanitized with an appropriate sanitizing agent. Wire bottoms need to be cleaned to remove any buildup of hair and waste deposits. Trays are scraped and empty. We use a worm bed type system, which means all the droppings fall down to the floor at the moment. And then we go through it at minimum weekly and try to get everything cleaned out. Tomorrow's going to be another day. We're going to be pulling everything out and doing the opposite side, the right side of the rabbit barn, and putting all that in the flower beds. We did the buck barn and the left half last weekend, and we're going to try, and then it rained all week, and then we're going to try to get to the right half this week, and try to get under the grout bins, because it's getting to a point where those all need to be removed. So no, we do that. We do all the run through, but they're also in a deep bedding environment, and it really does depend on the airflow. So I got my lime, I got my stuff. We're going to go ahead and clean out again, because that's what we do. We're going to be changing up the waste collection system when we get the new cage wire. And the new waste collection system is going to be a tray type system that is going to be a collection type system. So it's going to have solid ramps underneath all the cages going down to a large PVC pipe where I can just stick a hose in it every day or two, which is why I actually had it set up like that originally, and flush any extra waste down into collection barrels at the end to be composted and then used out in the garden or sold, because collecting the compost is totally a thing, and it's extremely useful in the garden because rabbit poop is awesome. But that keeps them all pretty clean and sanitary, and I can double stack the cages in the buck barn if I do that, which lets me get more rabbits inside where it is safe and less of them outside in the weather, because I don't like keeping them outside. I'm not comfortable keeping, I don't like having them out. I want to rotate them back in, and then we're going to be reflooring all the outside cages and rebuilding hides and more proper sheds for them, the way that I have it set up to do. So no, there's definitely plans, and we know what we're doing, and we want to make sure that they're going to be as comfortable as possible, which also means taking into consideration the temperature. So there's a whole list of things to go over. But this is all based on American Rabbit Breeders Association recommendations. That is what I'm going to base this on, and that is what I'm going to go for. And I'm above the standard, or at least I'm making an attempt to make sure that I am above the standard with their care. And that's why we have very healthy rabbits with nice paw pads and good teeth, and generally very healthy. But you guys can go bitch and moan and complain at me all you want. I don't give a flying fuck, to be honest. I'm going to continue preaching this and continue explaining this, because there's other people that want to get into meat rabbits and want to get into breeding New Zealand's or breeding whatever for show or for family sustenance, or, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and keep explaining how we do things and what works, and going by the recommendations. And I really don't care what supposed exotic vets say and people that want to make all these claims and have absolutely no proof to back them up. I have tons of shit to back me up. And so, quite frankly, go ahead and keep complaining. All I'm going to do is spank you for temporary blocks. And if you're going to continue harassing me instead of just scrolling, I'm just going to block you because I don't really care what you have to say. And your information is wrong. You can go ahead and agree to disagree, but these are meat rabbits. This is livestock. Deal with it.